FrontLeft podcast, FrontLeft conversations. Got myself, Taz, and I'm joined with
Trick or treat.
and we have a special guest in the building. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm MJ.
MJ like Michael Jackson.
That's it.
Is that, oh, you can't see. I was going to say, is that why you got the levers on as well? It makes a lot
Drop
of
me
sense.
glove on the way in.
Oh, fair dues. Yeah, but how is everyone before we start the convo?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me my first time here.
No
Amazing.
problem.
I know, exciting.
You excited?
I am excited, yeah.
That's
the Red
good.
Bull, the sugar-free, when I come in, I thought, this is a sugar-free party. I was like, I am here. I'm so happy. My eyes were like saucers.
We knew you were coming. That's why we made sure everything was sugar-free.
Oh, thank you so much.
Bring in the energy in that. So
Thank
yeah, we
you.
love
Yeah,
that.
of course.
We love that.
But yeah, getting straight into it. So obviously people are going to be thinking, why is he talking about sugar-free? Like why are we bringing sugar-free sweets and snacks and drinks for our guests? Like, why?
What is it all about, say?
What is
That's
it
the
all
question.
about?
That's the
What is it
question.
all about?
We're here to unravel.
Well, I was a sugar addict. I was a sugar addict since I was 5 years old, and it took over my life. I went up to 17 stone.
Whoa. You can't just go on with sugar addict 17 stone.
Oh, well,
We missed a few steps. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's getting into it, isn't
Yeah.
she? So
it felt like that for me. I was like a sugar addict, then I was
So-
17 stone.
So you were a sugar addict at 5.
Yeah.
So then what happened from 5 to 17 stone? Because you were not 17 stone when you were 5. Well, I don't know, was you? Because if you was, I don't know how you managed to do that.
That's a different story. I've just always been addicted to sugary drinks, and my
Okay.
earliest memory was when I was 5 years old, and I snuck down the stairs in the middle of the night, got a can of a certain drink, a sort of certain bottle. If you read the Daily Mail, you'll know what bottle that was. Caned it, and it all went from there. I was just addicted. I went up to, in my later years, I was drinking between 5 or 6 bottles of sugary drinks, cans a day. It was rife.
So when you had the first one,
I fell in love.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, because obviously, like you said, you're an addict.
Yeah.
So, not to make it. I'll make the analogy. Not to make the analogy like you were taking crack or something, but you know, like when you take crack the first time and people say you're chasing that first high, and it feels amazing. Was it like that when you had sugar then?
Oh my god, it was honestly, my life depended on having sugar. If I didn't have a sugary drink in the day, the world was over. That was it. I had to have the sugar. I remember actually when I was 12 and I was living with my dad at the time, and we were living in a flat, and I actually like snuck out the window of the first floor flat to go to Asda to get a crate of sugary drinks. It was rife. Believe me, it
Wow.
was so rife.
So was it just sugary drinks, or was like, did you have other like bad eating habits? or was it
Later on in life, I was binge eating late at night, so I had a late night binge addiction. But at the start, it was sugar, yeah, and then my teeth suffered over time. I had like the amount of times I was in the dentist. Only I might have lived there. I was honest to God, I was in the dentist all the time, and like my back teeth and stuff like that. So it got worse over the years. But then it got to a point where I was actually hiding my sugary drink addiction. I was folding cans up, hiding them in my drawers.
Cans.
Cans of hiding, like cracking
You
them
must
up
have had
like
like
this.
big biceps then, as a young kid, then, just, crushing all the cans in. Just
No clothes, just cans. But it got that heavy, believe me, yeah.
wow. My question, obviously you just answered it anyway, was did you always sort of like have access to the sugar? But obviously, you went out there and you were able to, get hold of that. So like, being so like, like early on, like how did you sort of change that mindset? Did you have like anyone to come up to you to like ask you, like what's going on, or was it something that just came naturally?
Yeah, I think in my early years when I was younger, I was kind of getting away with it and stuff like that. But I actually remember when my nan went into a care home. My stomach, when you look at photos of me as a child, my stomach was always so bloated. I had a bloat like here. It was so obvious. And a woman actually said to me, she was like an older lady at the time, she went, your stomach, she went, you're going to end up in hospital with a burst belly. And I was like, oh, I was like, what?
How old was
I was
you
only about
around here?
7, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
what? But it's still, so people still notice it then. And I look
Yeah.
at photos of my childhood, and my stomach is so like bloated, and it was just so obvious and so visceral at the time. And then the older I got, and the more independency I had as a a teenager and things like that. It just got, every time you go to the shop with your mates, I'd just be having them, I'd be swigging them like shots before I was going to my house. It just got to that level. And then the older I got, and like when I had my own money, that's a different story.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to picture like what. So when you said you'd like going to your mates and stuff, and you'd be swigging your your sugary drinks. Like, what age was you around then?
It all just started from when I was 5. So growing up as a teenager and things like that, growing up, and 2016, it was just rife. That's when like all the side effects and stuff like that started kicking in. My health deteriorated.
So when you were like a teenager, let's say, what would school be like then? Like when you go to school, because obviously like I'm thinking like playground, you're on the playground. It's lunchtime, you're gonna eat your lunch, aren't you? You might have like a drink. Would you not eat food, and would you just like...
Oh, I'd eat food, but it'd be like my bottle of my favourite drink at the time, and then it'd be like, you know, a sandwich and things like that. But after school, it was a ritual to me. Me and my friends at the time would go to like Tesco and I would go and get the bottle of my favourite drink, inhale it, and then probably later on when I was like, you know, I'd walk in the night and go and get another bottle. So it was just it was a clear an addiction to me. My life depended on it, and then it got to a point where I was having to hide the cans of the sugary drinks, the bottles, in my room, and my mum had caught me. It caused so many arguments. Like, honest to God, I spoke to me mum for 8 months at one time as well, because she was so worried about my health. But when you're going through a mental health, because I speak a lot openly about mental health, I'm dyspraxic and stuff like that. So when you're going through this, you can't see any other. You're like, what? You come over defensive. You get really defensive, and you think the world's trying to attack you, but actually they're trying to help. But you can't see that when you're blindsided by an addiction, and you've got to feed the habit, you know. Yeah.
So we'll take a step back. You mentioned your dyspraxia.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate for the people what that actually is?
Of course. So dyspraxia is a neurological disorder of the brain, and it affects fine and gross motor skills. So your everyday skills. So the certain you know, sometimes in the week my hands just won't work. So if I'm picking something up, I'll drop it 1,000,001 times. Just things like that. I do have a scar here. When I first started my healthy eating, I nearly cut my finger off chopping an onion. Honestly, I nearly ended up in the bloody A&E in the Royal with my dad, and my dad couldn't go out at the time, so it was just, it was manic, so I just had to put loads of plasters over it and run under the tap for like an hour. But, so yeah, it is a neurological disorder of the brain, so it's just about coordination, balance, you know, just all type of things like that, that it does, that for me, there's different types, you know, there's like medium and like low, different spectrums of it, but I'm on the medium spectrum of dyspraxia. And it's about memory and things like that. Just everyday tasks can seem a struggle. I know if I wake up in the day, if my dyspraxia is heightened, I know that. I got diagnosed when I was 5 in 2000, the year 2000. So I know on that day, if I'm having a high, accept it, take time, step back, and then a days where I'm like, yeah, I'm king of the world, and I know. It's honestly, it is a mixed bag.
Queen of the world, you mean?
Thank you.
Well, I don't know, actually. No, I'm joking. Don't cancel me. Anyway.
Don't at me.
But so, like, going back, so you were diagnosed with it at 5.
Yeah.
So do you think being diagnosed with the dyspraxia, the sugary drink addiction was like a coping mechanism?
Oh my God, absolutely. Well, part of my story as well, I was a late night binge eater, and I learned myself how to cook. Part of losing the 8 stone was learning myself how to cook. And the amount of pans that we went through in the house. I was with my dad at the time. We burned pans, we burned cutlery, and it set the house ablaze.
Wait. Why didn't anyone teach you? Why were you teaching yourself?
It was just at the time. My dad wasn't very well at the time, and just things like that. And it was just, I wanted to learn, so I was watching videos on YouTube about how to chop an onion. Gordon Ramsay was my best friend. 1 week of watching all his videos and stuff like that, how to cook. And I learned myself. It took a lot, nearly set the house on fire, but I'm so grateful of that journey. I'm so grateful of like...
From chopping onions? What kind of onions
I'm
are
here
you trying
today
to
because
make?
no onions.
You're chopping onions and nearly burnt the house down.
I know.
Wow.
Did you pour the Coca-Cola on the onions or something? And say that
Have you heard of this?
This guy, you know.
Is that a thing? Is it? What, like to caramelize them? See, I told you. I've done it.
Wow.
This is the chef right
I know
here.
about the beer one, but like I like the Coca-Cola one, that's extreme. But so obviously you've been diagnosed at 5 with the dyspraxia, and now you've got like a sugar drinking addiction. So like, who was the people around you to almost notice that the addiction's coming as a coping mechanism because you've been diagnosed with this? Because the way you're saying it from 5 to understand that, like, I've been diagnosed with this. That's a lot as a 5-year-old. Wouldn't
My
you
mum
just
couldn't
be...
even say it. My mum, no one knew what it was. When I got diagnosed, people were like, what was that? Like,
Yeah.
and for years, it was like, what is it? And, understanding of what dyspraxia is, and everything I want to do today and now is just create awareness of dyspraxia, invisible disabilities. It's so important to talk about. And as an actress and a performer today, I've still achieved so many things in my lifetime. And, I was told, my mum was told in the year 2000 by several doctors, Emily might not be able to have a normal way of life. And do you know what? They got that right, didn't they? Because what is normal?
Yeah, no, I get that.
So with the obviously, like I said, being diagnosed with dyspraxia, am I saying it correctly?
Well done. It's hard.
So, thank you very much. Thank you. Like the people around you, let's say like your friends, like at school and stuff like that. Like, how did they sort of take that? Did they? Obviously, I imagine at 5, you're not gonna be able to really understand what that is. How did they sort of react to yourself being diagnosed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I've always been a sociable person. I've always spoke to people and just been out there. Really, what?
Yeah.
And so I've always I did find drama and art a very good way of expressing myself, and no one ever really picked up on it. I think my friends just always thought, oh, that's just being the way she is, and stuff like that. And this year is the first time I've actually spoke openly wide about dyspraxia. So it's a part of invisible disabilities, and being 5 and growing up, I think it's just part of my makeup. It's part of the authenticity of what is me, and I just embrace it from now on.
So, kind of going back in time to the timeline. So, like, maybe you're a teenager now, and you've had dyspraxia for a couple of years, and you've got like the sugar addiction that's like still prevalent in your life and stuff. What else were you doing in your life? Like, were you obviously still going to school? Did you have like any hobbies, like maybe, I don't know, dance or whatever, to try and almost distract you from like always like turning to drinking the fizzy drinks and stuff? Was there anything?
Food and drink has just constantly been like the pinnacle of my life. Like I was always thinking about food. Even in my sleep, I'd be dreaming and I'd be thinking, it just honestly, it was so there. It was a huge part of my life, and I do believe what I went through. It is an illness: binge eating, secret eating, and sugar addictions and things like that. It's so important to talk about. And I was eating through my emotions. I was eating if I was upset. I was eating if I was excited. If I got a role in a play, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm gonna, my head would be in the fridge. And it's a huge part of life. It really is. It was a huge part of my life growing up, and just every time I'd need a sugary drink, and it got to that point in 2016 where I'd wake up in the day, I could go in the shop blindfolded, go in the shop, pick up, get a few bottles, go back a few times a day, but you know what, I think about it now, and it saved me. It was a bit of a saviour in my life. It did save me, because I thought I was battling depression, and I've been very open about that in the articles I've done and on the media and online, and I was battling depression, and through that time, they did get me through that period. So I am so thankful for the journey I've been on, and I'm here today because of that.
So the obviously the sugary drinks and stuff, obviously it was negative, but you needed it as a coping mechanism to get you through. So now you're like, I'm trying to go along a timeline here. We've gone from like school to maybe, I don't know, the teenage years where you start to go out and stuff, maybe like 16, 17, 18. What was that like? Was you, because obviously you've kind of like left your friends that you'd have in secondary school. You might have gone your separate ways. You might be in sixth form, college, or whatever. Like, what was that like? Did you have a social life, or was you kind of just a recluse?
No, do you know what? I was so sociable. I went to Liverpool Community College. It's called the City of Liverpool College now. I'm getting on.
It is.
Always changing its name.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'd done a performing arts, a BTEC level 3 extended diploma, and then I did a level 4 in acting. And it was, do you know what? It was so... But then again, there were shops over there. But so I did. I've always been a people type of person. I've always been in social situations growing up and things like that. But my friends kind of knew. It was just part of like my quirks and things like that.
So were your friends, did anyone like ever tease you or anything? Because like, I don't know. So when you were at that age, were were you 17 stone then, or were you like?
My weight's always fluctuated. That's a really interesting question. My weight's always fluctuated over the years. So I've kind of gone bigger. Because I've always been a tall girl for a long time, I kind of got away with it, as they say. Like, oh, you can spread out in your body. But in 2016, when I was 21, that was when I was like, nah, there's no getting away from this. It was like, I'd done everything. I was wearing my dad's tops. I was ordering clothes, like, bigger than, like, I was at the time. Everything, it was out of sight, out of my mentality. I was just trying to hide away from it. So over time, when I was in college and stuff like that, the journey, I was getting, like, bigger, and my size was changing and stuff like that. And of course, it's all the health, the blood pressure, you know what I mean, the diabetes, it's so rife. So over time, I was, that was in my mind subconsciously, but when you have an addiction, you're blindsided, and you're just focusing on getting that drink and getting that hit of food.
With the obviously the addiction, and obviously with everyone's on social media nowadays, like, did social media also as well sort of play a factor into, where you are today, would you say?
I mean, absolutely. YouTube and videos and stuff like that really helped me how to make food and things like that, and balancing my phone in the kitchen, on the microwave and things like that, and following videos how to cook. Honestly, it was the truth, and amount of times I broke things and all that, but I wouldn't be here today through it, and it massively helped me social media and reaching out to online profiles and on YouTube and saying how to do this. So social media was great. It really helped me.
On the other side of social media though, obviously you mentioned the positive sides, like did you get any sort of like negative sort of trolls like in DMs or anything like that at all? Like,
I think no, I didn't. I only started an Instagram account when my confidence started coming back. But I think in photos and stuff, I tried to take photos from like the waist down when I was at my biggest, when I was 17 stone. I was just taking the photos from like here, and it was more people that I saw on the streets. People who watched me grow up over the years, and the postman and stuff like that, and just things like that, and people I could see it in the face, but I didn't want to believe it. I could see that people thought, "Wow, Emma's changed," like, "Oh my god," but I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that, especially if you're, like you're saying, because when you have like an addiction, you're blindsided to everything else. So whatever you do, it just becomes normal to you. So like I can imagine you not seeing someone maybe for 2 years, and you can see it in their face, because a lot of the time when people are shocked, they can't hide their emotion.
And it's how they say it. It's not what they say. It's sometimes it's how they say it.
Yeah, like, oh, you've changed, and was that ever like a trigger? Because obviously I'm trying to think, like, were the people who gave you almost like the motivation to be like, actually, when you were 21, did you say, yeah, I need to make this change? Or was it just like you looked at yourself in the mirror one day maybe and been...
Do you know what it was? It was a circumstance. I was in town. I was outside Debenhams. It was my friend's birthday. We were going out, and I was going to get a pair of earrings from Primark, and I took a dizzy spell. I nearly fainted outside Debenhams, Never forget it. It gives me like tingles on my arms when I think about it now, Got off the bus, nearly fainted outside Debenhams, and it was like, do you know what? People were actually watching me because my legs were doing like that.
Like going jelly?
Yeah, and I thought, these people are actually going, is she okay? Is that girl, like watching me as anyone would do? You think, is this person okay?
Yeah.
And the first thing I done was somehow turned around, got in a black cab and went home and never went out for 2 weeks. It got, and I thought, what are you doing? Is this addiction from when you were little, like making you do this? Frightening time, but that still wasn't enough. And then I had to go to the doctors because I was suffering severe palpitations, and the doctor actually said to me, your blood pressure's on the high end. You need to home in this now. So I was suffering palpitations, dizzy spells, chronic fatigue, and I also had agoraphobia. I didn't go out the house for 6 months because of my weight affected my health that much. I couldn't stand up. I was having these chronic dizzy spells where standing on my legs for a little more than 30 seconds, I couldn't do it. I was going weak at the knees. I did feel, as a 21, 22-year-old girl, I felt like I was in my 70s.
Especially if being that
Elijah.
young. I know, yeah. I'm taking on everything you said there.
Wow. So, like, you know...
Okay.
I think he needs a moment. Wow. So, you know, you've had, you know, the doctors obviously like speak to you. I know a couple of episodes like a while back we had another guest on, Caroline, who went through her own like weight loss journey. At the time, she was in a bit of a situation with somebody else.
Yeah.
But obviously she lost the weight for like a family member. Like for yourself, was that turning point when you had like the dizzy spell? You thought, okay, this is me. It's on me now to make a change, or was it the doctor's sort of advice where you've then said, okay, they're advising me, now I have to kind of make the change? What would you say to that?
I think it was a mixture of both. It was little comments that my mum and dad were saying. So it was stuff like, there's only so much, when you're coming down the stairs and you're gaining weight every time you come down the bloody stairs, it's like, there's only so much you can hide away from that, isn't there? So it was me, just little comments like, oh, maybe don't drink that, and maybe don't have that, and maybe have an alternative, and just things like that. And then one day my mum actually said, I feel like crying looking at you. But that didn't give me the notification to go, oh my God, I need to lose weight. It was the fact that I was going, excuse me? Like, how dare you say that to me? I'm a good person. I am, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't carry on that way. Why are you having a go at me? And I was deluded. I was in self-denial. So it was the fact that I thought when I couldn't go out the house, and I was making, like, it got to a point where, like, I was making, like, stories up to friends going, oh, I've got this new job, guys, I can't meet you today, I can't do this today, and where I was, like, making, like, a bit of a life up because I was so scared. And my friends were talking like, does she not want to be friends with her anymore? But I just couldn't physically go out the house. So when it restricted my life and my well-being, that's when I thought, no, it's time to change, kick these habits. And it's been 3 years, actually, since I've had a sugary drink. So,
Oh, wow.
I know.
Congrats. So,
Thank you.
In that 6-month period where you're making excuses and you're staying at home and stuff, would any of your friends ever, like, come to your house to try and see where, like, knock on your door and be like to your mum, oh, is Emma in, can we see her and stuff? Would that ever happen?
Yeah, 2 of my friends actually drove up and saw me, and I've never really said open about this before, but I want to say it. I actually got ready in the room. I actually got ready in the room where my dad was living at the time. Done, like, me face and makeup, put, like, shoes on, and just made up a story. And they know about this. I've been open about this because they know what I was going through and that, and friends and stuff. And I was like, listen, that time I was actually in for like 3 months, and I met them on the step, and I made up a thing where I was like, listen, I'm just gonna like, we'll talk on the step and stuff like that, because I was so scared of going outside. So I was making this whole life up that, like, I'm living this life, but I'm not. And, like, taking Snapchat photos, I got in so deep. And it's not just like I put weight on, it was a lifestyle shock that I went through. And I never thought I was going to get through it. That's the thing. That's the scary thing. I've always believed in myself from a young age of being a performer and things like that. But I thought, I can't get through this year. And then one day I thought, yeah, you are. Yes, you are. You are going to get through this. And thank God, thank the Lord, thank the universe, I'm here today.
So you kind of almost made like a second persona of yourself.
Yeah.
Just to show your friends, but really you were just at home doing nothing. Just so they would leave you alone.
Yeah.
Just to continue.
Yeah.
That is a lot. I need to lie down.
Can we get a shot over here?
Jeez. So,
it's wild.
So, like, let's kind of move on towards, like, the losing weight journey.
Yeah.
So what were the steps? Because obviously you said, like, you were cutting onions, you nearly cut your hand off. Cut your finger off.
I'm not giving you the finger, by the way.
Trying to, like, teach yourself how to cook, and like, you're probably under your own supervision, and having dyspraxia made that harder. So what did you do to then lose the weight? Or did you have, like, a PT, or did someone give you, like, a plan of, like, this is how you should eat and stop eating this? Because I'm trying to picture myself, if I was an addict and I was having 6-7 sugary drinks a day, how do I go from that to none?
Yeah.
Like, what are the steps? So how did you do that?
Yeah, so one day I was going to the corner shop, and I was living with my dad at the time, who I was looking after, and I'd do that again in a heartbeat. My absolute idol. My dad passed away the first week of January last year.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And thank you. And so every day I'd go to the shop 2 or 3 times, and every time I go to the shop, I'd get my dad's stuff, my dad's tobacco. I'd say the order like there's no tomorrow, the tobacco, the ciggy papers, the white bread, and I'd get my drinks and my little bits that I get. And then one day, honestly, something came over me, and I grabbed the drink that I liked, and then something just came up to me and was like, and the sugar-free version was next to it, and I just went, and then I went, oh no, and I grabbed the sugar-free version, and then from that day, that afternoon, I tried to get on sugary drinks, and it was coming down to like 2 sugary drinks a day, 1 sugary drink a day, and then to go into sugar-free alternatives. And that day saved my life. That whatever happened in my mind saved my life. And then from losing the weight, I spent my days researching food on YouTube, researching what goes into food, the nutrients, the carbs, the fats, just all things like that, and investing my time. And them videos did save my life massively. And then the weight shifted, and one day I woke up and I thought, oh, I've lost 8 stone.
So how long did it actually take then to lose that 8 stone? Like how quick was the transformation?
13 months.
So you lost 8 stone
Wow.
in 13. Do you know what 8 stone's a person?
I don't know, I get that all the time.
Wow. You lost 8 stone in 13 months.
Yeah.
So when was the biggest transformational change? Was it like in the beginning, or was it like a gradual over that 13 months, or was it like 17 stone, then you blinked and like, oh my God, I'm 12 stone?
Do you know what it did feel like?
Yeah.
It did feel like that, but it was just about... I just enjoyed. Do you know what I think was so good about my journey was so successful? Because I enjoyed it. And also, a big part of my journey, I went on walks. I walked every single day. But having dyspraxia, I struggled with finding directions and stuff like that. That's part of dyspraxia is, for me, it was finding, journeys and stuff. So I got a new phone at the time. I thought, new me, new phone, new headphones, new trainers. And I think that's why my journey was so successful, because I enjoyed going out and buying new trainees. I enjoyed going out buying new headphones, bopping around the living room. And when I couldn't go out, when I was in the house with the agoraphobia, because of me weight got me to that point, I was dancing around the living room. I obliterated George Michael's greatest hits in one scene. Seriously, no, I did. Like, but I danced, and that saved my life. Dancing around the living room, and then when I started shifting the weight, I noticed like different health. Oh, I can stand up for a bit longer now. I'm not having these dizzy spells. I'm not tired. I'm not, sleeping for 13 hours and yawning for being up half an hour. So when I started doing these little changes, my health changed, and when I got a new phone, learned how to use the maps. Tracked myself on routes, and then I went to the end of the road the first day, come back, second day went to the end of the road again, third day went around the block with my mum, and then we started getting to 2 or 3 miles a day, and walking was a huge factor of my weight loss, and learning how to walk, how to plan journeys and stuff like that as well.
That's well done.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Amazing, because sorry to interrupt. I see a lot of people who want to go on either transformation journeys or like weight loss journeys, and they sort of either plan that's set for them, or they don't know how to go about it, and they're doing something to try and lose the weight, but they don't actually enjoy it. Like what you mentioned, the dancing, the walking, the stuff that relatable, stuff that you can do every day also as well. And it's just amazing to see how far you've come from that. So yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I don't think people realise, like, the way you've put it. Obviously, it was a long journey and it's been hard, but it's just simple things like, as Trey was saying and as you were saying, like dancing, going for walks, are just things that we probably take for granted, like every day. But like when you actually plan to make it, like an event, like, oh, I'm going to dance for an hour. Yeah. And that hour to someone who previously might have just been sat down and eating makes a massive difference. Because then once that 1 hour then becomes 2 hours in a week, because you got more energy. And then it just builds up and builds up and builds up. So, I mean, for you to like almost say to yourself, like, I'm going to do this and set the routes and stuff, that must have taken a lot of courage. So well done for that.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Because I've seen on I think it's either MyProtein or bodybuilding.com anyway. They had like this web series of these different people who weigh like way bigger than 17 stone, like sat there and they feel like half this couch kind of. And they're stuck and they really don't know what to do, and they don't move and they don't do anything for the majority of the days. And there was one story of this guy who he had weights, but like he literally couldn't lift his arms above his head. He was that big, and he would just play like computer games and then just get his meals done for him. But then he went on this chat forum thing and he saw someone who was like a bodybuilder, and like the bodybuilder gave him confidence, basically just said something really nice. He was like, you can do it. And he was like, anytime I've ever been in these situations, I've always felt like self-conscious or people are going to laugh at me. But he's saying because that person gave him the confidence, he just started like, I can't remember what it was, whether it was like, let's just say it was remote controls. Instead of sitting there watching TV, he'd pick up the remote and he would just be like lifting his arms up and down for like the duration of him watching the TV. Then when his arms were a bit stronger and stuff, he would just like, let me stand up and sit down. Then when he got a little bit smaller, then he was like, I'm going to go for, similar to you, walks. But what he would do is he wouldn't buy food. So he wouldn't do a full food shop. He'd do a food shop for like 2-3 days. And then he'd be like, I'm going to walk to, let's say it was in America, whatever it's called, but say it's Tesco. I'm going to walk to Tesco, buy me food and walk all the way back. So, so that's my exercise. And so I'm rewarding myself for the walk to eat rather than I'm just sitting here, I'm not moving. and he kept doing it, and then over maybe like 2 years or so, he's like almost a bodybuilder now. Like the transformation
That's
is
amazing,
ridiculous.
isn't it? Wow,
It's like,
that's so inspiring.
And it's like, again, this is mental health week as well. It's
Yeah.
all mental strength, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's probably something that you've like overcome. But kind of moving on, like with your weight loss journey and stuff. So like obviously you must have had like, you know, times where you thought, oh, I wish I could wear that, and I wish I could wear that, and fashion and stuff like
Absolutely.
that. What was it like? Because I know it's hard for lads, but being a girl must have been even harder.
I used to like cut dresses out of magazines and like put them on the fridge and just do all that like manifestation, going one day I'm gonna wear this, one day and one day when I was size 18, 17 stone, size 18, and there was like a lovely dress in like a magazine, and I thought, oh my god, I would love to wear that. And 13 months later, you know, I was in something similar. So it did. And there was times, I think going out and stuff like that was my biggest thing. There was certain outfits that I couldn't wear, and, you know, things like that. There was certain stuff. So I'd just be constantly hiding my body away. So it's so important, you know, like, yeah, you know, to me at the time, it was just like images and stuff like that. I thought, right, I need to sort this out. I need to do this. And then I think my fashion as well over the years, getting older, I was 21, 22 when that was rife. But now I'm older. It's like, right, okay, I know myself now. I really know who I am now. But absolutely, it's a massive factor. And then when you're taking selfies and stuff like that, and absolutely.
You get the DMs coming in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Got the taste of that.
Oh,
Come on. I'm making an Instagram. I'm making a TikTok. I'm making all of them. I don't know. But yeah. So tell us, you were on a TV show as well.
Yes.
What was the name of the TV show?
Lose Weight Like Me on Channel 4, and it's available on demand now to watch.
Okay. So when were you on that? When did that come out?
January, yeah, the 20th of January of this year.
Oh, so it's just that recent?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, tell us about that. How did you like? Did they approach you? I don't know. Like,
oh my god, you know what? It was like a magnet effect. So I put a photo on Instagram. So my story went in the Daily Mail, which I'm very, very grateful for. It went around the world, and I built fabulous relationships with people from Australia and America, all different countries, which I'm so grateful for. And the story went online. It just exploded overnight. And then I seen this advertisement for this new show. But I was emailing the casting director, and it was like a magnet effect. He was emailing me and I was emailing him, so it was like so it just hit. So it was just meant to be. And then I went through the process of the show, and it was truly so amazing. It was with Jordan Banjo and Dr. Sarah Kaya are the hosts, and it was just fabulous. And I think why I wanted to do that, Lose Weight Like Me, is because it is all about mental health. It's the aftercare. It's not just here's a diet plan, walk the plank, we don't care. It's about people caring. It's a weight loss show and a diet show that is inspiring. And us for weight loss heroes, we've all been through it. We've all been through what felt like the depths of hell of our lives. We've been through it with the health, the mental health, the ups and downs with the family life, and we've all come through it and changed our life. And to be a weight loss hero on Lose Weight Like Me was just one of the best experiences in my life. I'm so grateful.
So what was like the premise of the show? Was it to get people who have gone through a weight loss journey and then talk about it, or what did you have to do basically?
Yes, so it's myself and 3 other weight loss heroes, and between us we've lost between 7 and 14 stone. And so it was myself.
Each?
Yeah. I know. It's wild. So, and then it was 2 contributors who were on the show, and they wanted to change the lifestyle. So they had the lifestyles were quite unhealthy, and they wanted to make a change. And so we were in the studio with Dr. Sarah Kaya and Jordan Banjo, and our photos pre-weight loss were up on like canvases. And Jordan Banjo and Dr. Sarah would introduce us, and they'd be like, this is MJ, she's lost 8 stone, she was a sugar addict. They see the before photo, and then so either Jamie or Kathleen, who were the 2 contributors, want to lose weight, they'd go round and think, okay, and listen to our stories. Then they'd pick one of us,
okay,
and they'd follow a 2-month plan, and they both did amazing.
So
they both really turned their life around.
It's almost as if like, so you guys are like, I'm trying to think of it, it's like, you know in The Voice where everyone's like facing the other way, and like you press it and then they pick who they want to be with. So they picked you as one of the people to follow the plan.
I wasn't picked.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't, but you know what? It was a fabulous experience, and yeah. So they looked at our photos and they done so well, and even like people watching the show, they were like, "Was that you? Like, was that?" They were going, "Are you sure you're on this week?" And I was like, "Just watch the show. I'm on the show, guys." Like, fabulous.
Yeah, because obviously you must have people who only like we only know you like this. So have you noticed a difference in how like maybe people speak to you or approach you or whatever because they knew you before?
Massively. Like, I can talk about this now, but I've had like friends from the past who were like, like a bit like, like guys, like, a bit like, flirty and things like that, and then from like I've been in a relationship for 2 years, so before that a bit like so just you're my friend, and then when I started going on the lifestyle transformation 3 years ago, I noticed the attitude, they'd be like, oh hello, and you know what I'm saying, and hello, and it was like, okay, you want to play that game, like, so the attitude definitely did change, yeah, but it's so important that my heart has never changed. My heart has never ever changed, my passion, my drive and stuff like that, and that's what I wanted to get across when I was on this lifestyle transformation.
Amazing. So then, once you've been on the show,
yeah,
and like people have seen you, like how's your life been like since then?
It's been, honestly, ever since, even before the show, since losing weight, I've been so fortunate to just be doing what I love, presenting, acting, being in the theatre. I've done some fabulous productions around the country, so I'm very, very grateful of that. But I've noticed my confidence has just grown and stuff like that, and just finding, knowing who I am, and I'm very grateful to be doing what I'm doing today, being in short films, stuff like that. A film that I did with my partner, director Andy Taylor, While We Wait, is on Amazon Prime. Yeah, it got bought on Amazon Prime UK and USA, and that's called While We Wait. So that's available on there. So things have just been, I think the more self-love I've given to myself and put out to the world, the more it does come back,
Yeah, no, I can imagine. So is that your passion and is that your future, like the presenting, acting?
Presenting and acting is my life, yeah. I've done it since I was 12.
Wow. So going back in time, because
you love going back and back.
No, because she's I'm trying to create a timeline for the people listening and watching, and then she'll just drop a gem in there, and I'm like, we need to go back 7 years now. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So we're going back to like 12 and stuff. So when you were doing these acting roles and presenting, was there any kind of bias to be like, we don't want her because of maybe the way you look or anything towards that?
Of course, absolutely. I was doing a show. It was a show about like war in Syria, about 2016, and I was wearing these like army pants, and they were guys' pants. They was like, male pants for a male, and I burst out them. I had to put that. So I done 3 nights of a show with a safety pin digging into my belly button. And for the whole show, it was a 2-hour intense show, and I felt so uncomfortable. Honestly, I felt so uncomfortable, and I think that came across in that I felt in my performance. I was thinking, I had this pin, and I thought, I'm not going to let anyone know that this is happening. But even on the show, on stage, I was like, I could just tell me body language, and it was hard. It was hard. Absolutely. I think me being bigger, it did change people's perceptions, and it is wrong. I don't agree with it, because I've still been able to perform all these years, still have my talent that I'm very, very grateful for, but it is a shame when that happens.
Yeah. So I'm still going back here. I'm going back to the dyspraxia because I want to know a little bit more about it and stuff. So you said that like it affects motor neuron, and I think you mentioned earlier on, like you've got days where you're going to be good and when you're not. So talk to me like on the days when you wake up, do you immediately know like this is not going to be a good day for me? Like how do you deal with that if like once you wake up?
I think because I got diagnosed so early on, and it's crazy because I was doing a special guest hosting a while ago with Dyspraxia and Life magazine, and there was people on the channel who got diagnosed at 70 years old. This lady was diagnosed at 70, and I was like, wow. She went all through her life, had jobs, had a really awful time in the work environment where bosses didn't understand and stuff like that. And when she was 70, she got her diagnosis. So it is. So when I get up in the morning, I do know. But I think being diagnosed now for 20 years, I go through a stage and go, I found my methods of breathing. Just get anything to get through that moment, and I've found coping mechanisms for 20 years to go, right, this is it, it's one of them days, this is what you're going to do, take it easy, put your feet up, relax, you know, and just live the day. And I know tomorrow's going to be a new day. And
So
that's my
not to
ethos.
make you relive any kind of past traumas or anything, but I'm just trying to understand like what do you feel like? Is it like being super anxious, or is it like, I don't know, you feel like you're not in control of your body?
Yeah, I'm
or
not controlling my hands. I think stuff like that. I'm dropping things.
is it mainly your hands or your whole?
My hands and my coordination. So my
Okay.
coordination will be off, grabbing things, doing like my makeup, doing my hair, just things will be off. My balance of a day, dropping things mostly. It's a lot of my hands. It affects my hands a lot more, the fine and gross motor skills. So when I'm having one of them days where it is up and it's heightened, I just take a step back. I go, right, today I'm not going to like do all these things that I'm going to do. And I'd rest. I give myself a lot of rest and things like that, and just go, right, tomorrow's a new day. But I know on that day, and I've known now for 20 years, 2 decades, to just go, right, today's one of them days. You're going to be okay tomorrow.
Sorry, just.
And that's having an early diagnosis.
So you're probably quite lucky to get diagnosed at age 5 then, because if you're saying people get diagnosed when they're 70, they go through their whole lives thinking that like they might have in the back of their head like something's wrong, but we don't know what's wrong, and their whole life could have been
Completely different.
completely different.
Yeah.
Because things like, I'm thinking of it like, if you've got something wrong with your hands, because I was watching a video the other day, there's this guy he's on TikTok, and he's got Tourette's, but I think he's got autism as well. It's definitely Tourette's anyway. But he records himself with his like son or like his missus and stuff, and he's trying to normalize and show what it's like to have Tourette's, and people like message him, and he's so open, and he says like it's difficult. Like people sometimes think I'm like joking, but it's genuinely difficult. Like his videos are hilarious though. I need to find it to tell people.
Yeah.
He's there in the kitchen, and he's trying to make what was he trying to make? He's trying to make fried chicken. So obviously he's got eggs. He's got flour in that bowl. He's got eggs there. But because of his Tourette's, as soon as he gets the flour and his missus comes through the door, he throws it in her face. And then,
Oh my God.
and then like he's got the tics, so he swears and stuff. So you'll make a funny joke over the like, and he'll just be like, I got come down or something mad like that. And then his missus is like, oh my God. And then she's like trying to soften stuff, and then he's going, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that. And then like with the eggs, he's cracking the eggs into the bowl.
I don't know where this is going.
He's cracking the eggs in the bowl. And he just throws them all in the air. And then like just the eggs everywhere, and he's like, oh, I needed them. And then like it's the same with then he's like finally he's like, you know, put the flour and the eggs on the chicken and stuff, and he's like whisking it, and then he just launches the chicken in the air. And it like to catch it, and then some of it sticks on the roof. So like you see it in the video, and the next minute you just see the bits of the chicken come
dropping
down and stuff, yeah. And like people asking questions like, what's it like? Like, are you allowed to have knives and stuff like that? And he's like, yeah, but I need supervision, because sometimes like he would just start swinging like a lightsaber and stuff. And he's like, I can't control. And it just happens. And like then people are asking him like, what about your partner? Like, how does she see it? And she's like, she's so patient and she's loving. But like sometimes I feel like I'm so sorry. But he's really open with it, and I like how open he is with it, and he's showing people, because like if he didn't and people just saw that, they'd be thinking, what's wrong with this guy? But he's like built up a whole following, and like other people who are autistic and have Tourette's and that like say like, oh, thank you, because now you've opened it up to other people, and we know that like, you know, when we see that, to not judge someone, because we know, oh, actually I've seen that somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like that's autism or that's Tourette's and stuff. So with your dyspraxia, are you like doing any kind of charity work or?
Yeah. I'm going to be advocating, and one of the advocates for Dyspraxic Help for You, which is a dyspraxia foundation down south, down in Kent, and I'm an advocate now for them, and I'm a speaker, and I've done a lot of work with the magazines, Dyspraxia Help for You magazine, Dyspraxia Life and magazine. So I think because a lot of people haven't heard of it, a majority of people, I feel like it's important for me to talk about it, me to be so visceral. This is a disorder, and it's important to talk about and be aware of in our society. But as you just said, like now the world is so open to mental health, and it's something to talk about now. You know, it's not something to hide away from or to be shy of. It's good to talk now.
Yeah. So have you got any other platforms then that you like do you talking and speaking?
Yeah,
and
so
stuff?
I have a chat show called Drinks with MJ. It's empty, this one. Drinks with MJ, and it is my talk show, and it's on YouTube, and I talk to people who I think have got really interesting life stories, and we have a drink, and we get merry and have a good time.
Yeah.
It's
It's
amazing.
also on Facebook as well. Facebook Drinks with MJ, and all the videos, the behind the scenes stuff is on there as well. So
when you on your this drinks with MJ, what do you drink, or do you not actually drink? Is that just the name of the show? Are you drinking tea? I love tea, because if I could go in and drink tea, I'd be happy.
it's a drink, you know. I'm a vodka Diet Coke girl. Yeah.
Oh, so you're actually drinking?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so you're actually drinking?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that
I'm
was just
all
the
in.
name of the show. Just
No.
So how do those
People walk
conversations-
in differently when they walk out.
So how long's like the show? Because I'm trying to gauge how many drinks you get through during the show.
Oh, I can honestly. Do you know me? So the show's about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and throughout that I have about, well, it's funny because we film about 3 or 4 in a series. So
Oh,
at
so
the end of
you're
the
doing it
day,
all
I'm like, but it's I do moderate. I have like water in between and things like that, you know. And it's just 10-15 minute interviews of people telling me their life story. We have a drink, and why I love the show so much is because in my experience, people who I've had a drink with and you put on the wheel to rights, you just feel more relaxed. And I know when I'm talking to someone and I've had a drink and vice versa, you just feel more relaxed. It just settles you down, and you really get into the core of the person, and that's why Drinks with MJ. And also I like a drink, and that's my story. So
Does it ever go anywhere where it shouldn't? No, because you know after alcohol, the conversation can go different directions. I want to know now.
That's the edit. No, do you know what? The person who always sat in front of me, I found them so interesting, and I hope the audience found them so interested. And it's the show. Anything can be said. We can swear. We're in the pub. It's easy going. You know, we're having a conversation in the pub with your friend, and you can talk about what you want. It's that type of show.
Sometimes them social drinks are when you have the best conversations as well, yeah.
Absolutely, definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
What
but-
about you? Have you two been in that situation where you're like, oh, I should have said that?
Every pod. Every week. Nah, not really, you know, because I feel like subconsciously I know I know there's cameras and stuff there, but like in my everyday, I try not to say something too wild anyway, where it'll come back to me. So I think that just feeds into when I'm like we're sat here and we're talking to other people. I know there's a line, and I don't know I can say certain things with certain people. So if we do the pod and it's just me, Trey, and when Josh is here and there's just 3 of us, we may be able to say certain things because we know how we're gonna react. But if we get someone that we've never met before and we fly a joke, because it's happened before on the pod, it's happened before on the pod where we said something and all out of us we're just laughing. And the guest is just being looking like whoever said it.
Oh my god.
Just
How'd you get out of that though? Like, what do you do?
I just smile
you
and
just
wave.
try.
innit?
I try and swiftly move the conversation on, or whoever said something. We just try and like deviate it or like go around in a circle to not make it awkward. But most of the time we're good.
I'd have a shot at that point.
Yeah, imagine. No, if we drank on this platform, maybe a bit. I think it would get if you're a bit mad, it would get a bit mad. I reckon.
Oh, I don't have to worry about that. I'm the designated driver, so yeah, no alcohol for me.
I thought, I don't really, I like to be sober when I do these things, just in case, because you never know, like, you'll do, like, a pod, an interview, whatever, and you'll be drunk, and you'll forget what's happened, and it will come out, and you'll be like, I don't remember any of that, and everyone will just know you for that. And there's no way for you to say like, no, I was drunk, because no one's really.
It's not gonna land well, is it? You know.
Yeah, exactly. No one's really gonna be like, no. Like, So it's one of them. But how long we got left?
No, I totally understand.
10 minutes. 150. All right, so yeah, no, we can continue. Sorry about that. Just asking about how long we've got. So yeah. We've gone through your life journey. We've gone through your...
You need an aspirin.
Yeah, I know. Your sugary drink addiction and all that. Like, what else is there about you? What do you like to do? Apart from, be a mental health advocate and dancing.
dance around the living room, absolutely. But I still
Yeah.
do that. I still dance around the living room. But for me now, it's just about going through this new chapter of my life, finding myself again. A lot of my lifestyle transformation was just finding myself again, what I like, building up. What I want to do. So the show, drinks with MJ, and just going through new adventures. I want to do a lot of travelling. There's a lot of places I want to go to in the world and things like that, and so much more I want to do as well. A lot of travelling and things like that. Hopefully, that we're coming out of Corona now and stuff like that. So hopefully that we can do that.
Where is it you're looking to travel to?
I really want to go to Thailand, and I really want to go to New York and watch a play on Broadway. That's such an important part of my life. They wouldn't get me home. Honestly.
That's such a movie fairy tale. I want to go to New York and I want it to snow at Christmas. Like, that's one of them. It's one of them answers. It's one of them. So
I just love to do it.
When you go to Thailand, or hypothetically, if you go to Thailand, what is it that you plan? Would you go on your own, or you going?
No, I think me and my partner would go.
Oh, okay.
Definitely, yeah, we go traveling. But I don't like flying, so it's like.
Oh, you don't like flying?
I get so scared of flying.
Really?
I'm like, oh my god.
What part of it is scaring you?
I think it's because I'm not in control. I think once you're up there, aren't you? So it's like, okay, like you're up there and you think, I can't come. That's what it is. And then we went to Poland, me and my partner Andy, in November of 2019. And I think I had like 5 vodkas on the plane. I'm making myself sound so well, aren't I, coming across tonight?
That's like an hour journey.
I know.
That's literally an hour journey in the plane.
Oh, yeah.
Is it that bad? Like, are you
just
shaking
the old
and
that I've
everything?
got. I think but I do it. That's the thing. We do it. Don't we? We're so scared, but we get up there and do it. And then once you're on your seatbelt in. But my partner Andy was like, I was like, Andy, it's rocking. And he went, just look at the air hostess. She's not panicking, is she? And I had my eyes on the air hostess the whole flight because I thought she was smiling. I could smile to know it's okay.
But isn't Thailand like a good 12 hours or something journey?
It's worth it though.
Yeah, it's not
It's a long one.
how are you going to manage that?
I know. I have to rethink my strategy.
If you're alright with boats,
Yeah.
but like, if you want to go to like little islands, you're on the boat for like 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
But it is so much worth it when you get there.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Like when I went to Hong Kong with Josh, but he's not yet, but that was nearly 14 hours.
Wow. Did you stop off anywhere?
No, continuous. No, was it? No, 12 hours. I think 12 and a half hours, just continuous. But because of the time scale, it was like we left here on a Tuesday afternoon and got there like on Wednesday, 5 p.m. It was so weird, like, because they're 11 hours ahead
Wow.
or behind, either or. So what would happen is my day when I'm going to sleep, that's when people here were waking up. So I didn't really speak to many people. I'd miss them. So I'd message them and they'd be like, why are you replying at 6 a.m. or 5
Oh,
a.m? And I was like, I'm not, I'm going to sleep. And they're getting up. So it's weird. It's great being in Asia though. I'll definitely go back. But Thailand, that's one thing I'd love to go. I'd love to go to Japan as well.
Yeah, Japan.
Yeah,
Definitely. Just
definitely
travel
will.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think we've more or less come to the end of the conversation. I mean, we can definitely get you back another time.
Thank you very
might-
much.
By then, you might have your own show. Drinks with MJ.
Drinks with MJ.
Yeah. You might
No,
be
thank you
making,
so much for having me.
No
might be
worries,
making
my
your own
pleasure.
sugar-free drink next time.
Well, actually, I am. I'm collaborating.
Oh,
with
you
her,
actually? I was joking.
Thank you very much. Thank you for lining me up. Yeah, I actually am.
I'm psychic.
So I am collaborating with On Point Liverpool, which is a
Okay.
bar on Victoria Street, and I'm going to be making the Miss MJ. It's called.
Oh, nice.
So write that down, everybody. It's called the Miss MJ, and it is a sugar-free cocktail that I'm going to be collaborating with On Point Liverpool to make this coming summer. So that's
Oh, wow.
exciting. Yeah, absolutely. And I like making my own drinks as well. When I'm in my kitchen and the music's on, and I'm like, the sugar-free mixes and stuff like that. So I've recently tried Pepsi Max Cherry for the first time the other week, and it was like adorable. I loved it. So I'm growing.
So do you ever go back to like a full-fat fizzy drink then, or is it just sugar-free? All
And
the
it sounds like I'm going this disclaimer. I don't despise sugary drinks, part of the world and stuff like that, and every now and then it is good, they are there, and it is good to have one and stuff like that every now and then. I don't hate them or anything like that, but for me it's just a lifestyle choice. It's a lifestyle choice that I practice now, and I love drinks. I love all food, drinks, stuff like that, but I'm at a place now where I can enjoy it in moderation and balance.
Yeah, because now you probably got the knowledge of what's good, what you should have at the right times and stuff.
But I'm so thankful in my journey as well. I'm so thankful that I went on this educational with food and drink and knowing what I like and finding myself again. I'm very grateful of that journey because I wouldn't be here today without it. So I don't look back at it as that blackout period in my life. I'm like, that was a time in my life where I pulled my socks up and I realised that I was stronger than I thought I was. So I'm grateful at that time.
You know,
That's
it's amazing.
good,
It's made you to the amazing person you are today. So
thank you so
thanks
much.
for coming
Thank you
through.
very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome, no problem. So this is the chance where you can just plug as many things as possible. You've already plugged them in, and I see you're natural. She would say, mention one thing. She's like, I'm an actress. My show's going out on the 25th. Oh yeah, I've got a drink coming out. Yeah. So anything else that you haven't mentioned, or you have mentioned, and you just want to say again for the people to
Yes,
find
so I'm on Instagram, and it is I am MJ Carter. I'm also on Facebook, and the show's page is called Drinks with MJ. We're also on YouTube, Drinks with MJ, and we have our show is out Sunday every 2 weeks on the Sunday. I need time to recover, you know. I know, I'm joking. And so the show's out every 2 weeks of a Sunday. And so yeah, Drinks with MJ on Facebook and YouTube, and my personal Instagram is I am MJ Carter. So thank you so much for having me here.
No problem. And like we said, you know, in the future, when you've got your own show and your own drink and everything, and everything's popping, and you've gone to your new chapter in your life, then we'll obviously get you back on.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And the show is great. I love it. Thank you for having me down.
Anytime. But Trey, you got anything else left to plug?
I've got on to plug, but follow the podcast on Instagram, FrontLeft Podcast. Search and find us on YouTube, FrontLeft Podcast, and on Twitter, FrontLeft Pod.
Yeah. Also, leave a review on. I was gonna say Apple Music about that.
Get it right this time.
On Apple Podcasts, leave a review, and the best 5 reviews we'll read out, but I'll give you a gift as well. But I won't tell you what the gift is, but you have to leave a review. But yeah, that's Front Left Podcast.
Over and out.
Peace. Yeah.